Preparing to stream. Okay, it says we're streaming live already, but it's still setting up here on YouTube. So welcome everyone. We are here today to share our knowledge of the Ascension forecast. So I wanted to know, are you guys interested in taking time out to tune into your future self, to your future business or your future life, and to tune into what the New Earth architecture is going to be offering us? Because if we're serious about creating a new Earth, then we have to start doing things in new ways and finding ways to achieve those new things. So I'll be starting properly in about 5 minutes to give time for people to find us on YouTube Live. And we'll be live for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to switch to only Zoom attendees for the last 30 minutes. So grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and put this in your diary so that every week you can make this the time that you put aside to create your vision for yourself and for New Earth. So there's 3 of us holding space for you today. And that means you'll get 3 different views from different perspectives. Each of us has a specialty in what we see and what we sense. And I think this is going to kind of be the theme of today's meeting, is collaboration and how we work together. So I kind of hope we found benefit in us collaborating, and I hope you will find it too. We'll be here on YouTube and Zoom every Monday at 8 p.m. GMT, and we'll be giving you the Ascension energy forecasts. So for those on Zoom, make sure your cameras are off and your speakers and your audio is off, because we'll put those on later when we all get together for the last half. And the final bit of housekeeping is to be aware that we will be asking you questions in the second half, because we want you to be able to take what we share today, that you may use it. So we will be asking you questions like, what are your takeaways, and how can you use these new energies and the new lessons that we've spoken about in your everyday life, and for creating a new way for humanity. So please ask questions in the comments. We have YouTube and we have Zoom comments to read. And I'm just going to set up my YouTube connections while I hand over to Alicia.
Beautiful. Thank you, Trudy. So welcome, beautiful souls, to the Galactic SiStars Ascension Energy Forecast. As always, we're really excited to be here with all of you today. And if you're connecting with us for the first time, my name is Alicia with my mom, Eva. We're co-creatrixes of Crystalline Ascension with our Galactic sister, Trudy, White Star Soul Guidance. So if you're catching the live on YouTube or even on Zoom with us, please do say hello and share your New Earth mission in the comments or in the chat. And a warm welcome to those of you who are watching the replay. Please do hashtag replay and also share your New Earth mission. And that way we can circle back around and say hello to you and read the comments later. Just gonna check. Beautiful. Okay, so we invite you again to join us each Monday at 3 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. GMT. And here's the format that we're going to try today. We're going to be sharing the quantum 5D ingredients available so you can connect to these energies and embody them and just try them on for size. And then we're going to discuss the priority of 5D soul lesson of the week, the challenge we're facing, the strengths that we can draw on. And we're going to be facilitating this to accelerate the ascension path for those interested in being a thought leader or pioneer of New Earth through collaboration.
Excellent. So yeah, I've got the YouTube up so I can see any comments coming through. So if anybody wants to share what your mission is, then we can do it on Zoom or on the chat underneath the YouTube. So I'm just noticing that my chat on Zoom is not up. So hopefully you guys have got that a moment. I don't know where mine's disappeared to. So let's start today. We'll say we've got 30 minutes to give you like an overview, so we can't cover everything, but we thought we'd try and focus in on some aspects that can pinpoint it in a way that you can actually use it. So the first thing we wanted to talk about is what Ascension energy is kind of playing as the main player in the landscape at the moment. And we still think it's this Ascension particle. It's something we sensed into back in 2 months ago, or perhaps even 3 months ago. And we were kind of a little bit nervous about sharing it at the time because we didn't fully understand it. But I think now as New Earth leaders, we need to start sharing this stuff, because that's the only way we can make connections. When we all start sharing and understanding it from different perspectives, we get to see what it is. And it's particularly of interest now because over the last month or so, I've noticed that there's a new comet coming past the planet. And that comet hasn't been seen for about 50,000 years, which is when the Neanderthals kind of started to evolve into the Homo sapiens. And we've been calling this the Ascension particle because it does seem to have this ability to, it was a new particle that our bodies needed in order to create the next level of evolution, which also would allow us to hold more of our multidimensional soul. That's as much as we had, and we knew it was coming via ice. That's as much as we had at the time. And then interestingly, when this comet came up, we were like, yeah, this could actually, this could be part of it. So it's interesting because Eva, you saw an interesting kind of scenery when you were describing how you saw like icebergs, yeah?
Yes. So when I saw icebergs, I had a dream, and in my dream, I always travel with my family all the time. So, and then once again, we were in Florida, and there was this huge iceberg, like I was in the water, and there's this huge iceberg just coming and flowing down the ocean. And what really sparked me, because I still remember the hearing of it, my two granddaughters, like they're teenagers, all of a sudden they were on top of the iceberg and they're laughing and they're being hilarious. And I'm like, oh my God, get off the iceberg. But because I felt it was danger, like, you know, but yet here's two teens just having the time of their life on this iceberg. So I do feel like it is flowing by us.
And I was thinking, you know, when I was thinking about the comet, comets have a lot of ice in them. And I was thinking, I wonder if that was your visual for a comet coming by, you know, with all of those, our soul tribe family on it, bringing that back to us. So I thought that was quite an interesting kind of link. So it kind of shows how weird your visions are and how sometimes they do have a greater idea, because, you know, at the time we were saying, like, where is this ascension particle going to come from? How is it going to evolve? And we knew that there was a volcano in Alaska also that was kind of been dormant for 900 years and was reactivating. So we knew that had something to do with it because it had a nice capped top on it. And we knew that these codes and templates were going to come out of ancient codes from the ice that have been frozen for so long. So this comet kind of fits into this. So I think we should ask, this comet apparently first appeared March 2022. So we've only just started hearing about it because it's going to be the closest to the planet by February 1st. So how have you all been feeling since March last year? This might be interesting because we know that the moon affects our bodies because of the water in it. We know that other galactic, like solar flares, affect all of our communications. So these things do affect us physically. So what if whatever's been going on for you since March, which might have been intensifying up till now, what if it's been to do with the closeness of this comet? So how have you guys been feeling? Have you noticed a change in how you've been feeling since? I know before Christmas for me it's peaked up, but have you got like something before that you've noticed coming through?
I'm just trying to think. Definitely was around December time where all of a sudden everything really shifted. And I mean, usually a lot of time energetically, when something is coming in new, I can feel it in my body, get that dizziness spells. But more recently, it was like extremely exhaustion. You just wanted to sleep. I could sleep, you know, all night. I can have a nap during the day, which I never did before. And that was something new to me. And I can go to bed regular time. So that really heavy kind of sleepy energy that was coming in. And the more I tuned into that, I was questioning why my body was experiencing this. And it gave me the message all about myself and my body realigning to the Earth's magnetism. So that's what I received for myself.
Which is also really interesting because the kind of feeling of a comet, which is quite a heavy, dense metal, is magnetism, I guess. It is pulling on the planet as a magnetic kind of reaction. And I've been anemic. It was only kind of diagnosed properly now, but over Christmas I was getting worse and worse. And I kind of felt it was to do with the iron in my blood. Well, we know that the moon affects our water. What if comets affect the iron in our blood? Wouldn't that be kind of like an interesting way to perceive these galactic events and how they impact us physically? Because I don't normally think like this, but I know I've been feeling weird, and then a comet comes along and a new particle comes along, and I'm starting to think, what's this all mean? How is this supposed to unfold for us as humans? So I'm curious, has anybody else been feeling anything over Christmas or the time before that's been creating a different physical environment for your body? Because I feel like when we were looking into the ascension particle itself, it was more about it waking us up to allow more of our divinity to return, which is one issue. But we also know that there's this evolution. But if it is affecting the iron in our bodies, then maybe have more people been noticing they feel anemic, or are more people noticing changes in their blood or something? Oh, it's interesting. Jenny said Kenny has had less iron in his blood recently. Used to give blood, but tried twice last year and his iron was too low. Ha ha. We're not so crazy. So yeah, I'm interested. Anybody else that's been spotting this? Because it does feel like when we saw the Ascension, we talked about the Iron Age. We knew the Iron Age was important, and we just assumed it was the age of the Neanderthal when they started making tools. But now I'm starting to wonder if it's actually impacting the iron in our bodies as well. That's really interesting. Thank you, Jenny. That really is great confirmation. Marta saying she's feeling really sleepy. Yeah, and Jenny says she's going to tell Kenny about the this comment that we just made about the comet. So the thing is, if it's going to be the closest on February 1st, then we should start noticing it easing off now as it moves away from us. But yeah, 50,000 years since this comet. So it's kind of like a 50,000 year circular movement around the planet, and the closest will be February, and then it won't see it again for another 50,000 years. So wouldn't that be interesting to see what happens next?
Especially when, if back at that time, that it was part of the evolution, and we do see a lot of our evolution happening right now, evolution in our actual human bodies, the ascension. So it would make sense that it's all really lining up, and it's very interesting, like you said, it's coming around again. Then for what reason then?
Well, evolution, let's hope. It's like, it's, when we talk about consciousness shifts and how our consciousness evolves and gets into 5D, there is that aspect that if you look back through time at different ages of different times and see how we approached our lives, how we approached animal kingdom, how we approached spirituality, all of these things shift. And it's often like curious to me, what is the social reason for these to shift? Well, what if it's not social? What if there is this physical, galactic kind of cosmic event type interaction with this as well? So I think this is all part of this changing up of our consciousness and where we're going to go next. So the interesting thing is that our soul lesson then off the back of that energy landscape is that there's a lot of fear. It seems like a lot of fear is bubbling to the surface. Now, we've been in fear since 2020, so you might not actually notice it as fear anymore. You might feel it as a bit of anxiety or frustration, but really tune into your bodies now and let me know, do you actually sense any fear, like real fear? And just tune in and see if you can sense it. And the fears I'm talking about might be to do with, as this ascension particle is becoming more active, then it's nudging you back into this divine template, which we're not used to having. It's going to feel quite scary because perhaps the last time we had this divine template, we might have had the fall of Atlantis or fall of a civilization. So it's going to trigger some memories with it. And it's also this trigger into a new evolution as a new human in this kind of, as civilizations grow, we know that as they seem to get to a point and then suddenly drop off. So any of those sort of memories that come along with being an evolved human could be coming up to the surface right now. So notice if you've got any of that fear going on now. Now just check in with your body.
No, it's not fear, but I want to just touch base on the YouTube chat here. Candy says extremely tiredness, which is rare for her. So, which is, and then Lillian on Zoom, I've been sleeping much more since just before Christmas. So they're all feeling that too.
Cool. Well, so maybe we all need a bit more iron in our lives, but we'll have to see, check with your nutritionist, I think is the best advice there, and just see if there is something that we can do just to get us through this phase.
Definitely.
That's cool. So the other fear that we've got is that some of us are not quite ready to step into that new version of ourselves. There's a fear that there's the old us, the new one, and it's like, And the best way to think of this is, imagine you're in a relationship and the relationship's not working out so well, and it's time to leave, but equally it's comfortable. And you're in that kind of like, is it that bad? Do I really want to go and find somebody else? Do I want to come back? Well, you're in that kind of relationship argument with yourself right now. You're kind of looking, do I want to be that new person? Or am I happy being here? Is it safer to be here? Is it better to be stagnant than growing? And that's a kind of a different type of fear. It might come as lack of motivation, or it might come as lack of clarity over what you want to do next. So that's the other type of fear that's part of this soul lesson now. And the last one is, we are stepping into the unknown. We don't know how we're going, where we're going, or how we're going to get there. And that can freeze us in a situation like a deep freeze, like ice, I guess, freeze us to say, we don't know how to move forward. So those are the kind of soul lesson topics that we need to be working on this week, because we're going to do these weeklies on this week. So anybody noticing any of these?
definitely for myself, when I was tuning into that fear on a collective level for myself, I was tuning into that, yes, that feeling of the unknown and stepping outside of your comfort zone. But what I was really tuning into that really was really interesting is that fear to go first, in creating that unity consciousness, those fear to kind of step into that new direction. And I even saw like light workers, healers, and other leaders even kind of just changing a little bit of their direction of their path. And there's kind of like that fear of stepping into that something a little bit more bigger, more of that larger mission that they're kind of fearing to step into. You know, everyone has these beautiful missions. They're just evolving as well. They're changing as well. And I can sense that little bit of that fear to step really far and really deep into that mission.
Oh yeah, no, I feel that myself. I think since last April, my language and the downloads that I'm getting are constantly outside of my comfort zone. It's like, just when I think I've got a grip on the language and what it means, it shifts again and it shifts again. And it's this constant shifting that on certain days, I don't know where my head's at because it's just shifting so quickly every hour almost. That's interesting. How about you, Eva?
Yeah, I feel the fear of, for a lot of people, is the fear of like they're disconnected, right? They're feeling alone and separated, and they're lacking to surrender, really go into that surrender to support, because I don't feel like this is the time where we're no longer the lone wolf. That was once upon a time a paradigm. But I feel right now that to be open and accepting of support, because we really don't know, sometimes there's like a piece missing inside of us and we know that there's something wrong, but we don't know how to get it. And it's just going into allowing that support in. And there was a vision that it was like, it's an overlay of the vision. Like, so you have the answer right here. They have answers right here, but you can't see it. Like the message is there, and it's almost like they were giving a torch to me and they were showing the message, like an Indiana Jones type of thing, right? And then the message came out here, and it's so invisible to us, but we really have to open up to it, right? It's really time to open up and to connect, to communicate, to collaborate, and as well as the death of an identity. I think that there's a fear of that, because when I see that, and it doesn't have to be like a fear of identity, could be people pleasing, right? There's so many people pleasers, caretakers, right? It's time to resign those old identities, yet, like you said, the fear of going into the unknown to what they could become. They don't have that clarity. And this is why, like, to reach out to other light workers so that the other light workers can show you the lens of these new perceptions. So I think it's time to put the fear away and time to really step beyond that string. Like when I was seeing it, so imagine the earth is going like this, right? It was like this, and now it's going like this. So we have to choose almost what foot we're going to put. Are we going to put our feet here, or are we going to put our feet here? But eventually we do have to make that discernment, and we have to make that decision so that now we're in flow again, that it's not going like this, but it's going nice and smoothly for us again.
Yeah, I think we're really at a point of decision now. Like we've said that in our last video, that we talked about, that this year has no form. It's for us to pick the ingredients and put them together in our form that we want. And to do that, we have to, the first thing you have to do, like it's like when you're leaving that relationship, you've got one foot in the relationship and you try and look for a new one. It says one door closes before another opens. And it's that closing the past and opening the door to the future. Because a lot of our old worries and our old contracts and vows are actually coming up to be cleared right now. And when they get cleared, then we're going to literally be like catapulted forward. And that's scary in itself. But the closing of the door is our choice. We have to choose that, and we have to choose to do it bravely. But there are other things that we need to consider as well, because the question we should all be asking ourselves now is, why are we not willing to close that door? What do we need to be able to close that door? What support do we need? What infrastructure in our life do we need so that we can close this door and step forward? So that's the kind of question I want you to think about. And anybody got any answers, then shove them in the comments, because we'll only learn from each other. If anybody's got some good tips on how to close the door and move forward, then share. Let's share it all with each other. The final part of the fear is this bias we've been programmed for so long to think that humans are not powerful, that only when we're in the ether are we powerful, that what is good and what is bad, you know, we kind of blame the dark energy sometimes, but it's not always as clear as that. Sometimes the dark is accidental, sometimes it's a lost soul, sometimes it is dark. There's just so many variations that we have to really expand our ability to be non-judgmental and start looking at things with fresh eyes and looking back at them and going, right, I used to think this was bad, but why? And start re-examining all of our thoughts and beliefs, because some of those biases will hold us back from closing that door. Some of those biases will stop us stepping into what we think we can do. So those are the kind of, this is the soul lesson that we're working with, removing all the things that are causing us fear so that we can move forward to be the leader that we're meant to be. And we want to speak to New Earth leaders, not because you have businesses or because you have a soul mission to serve. There are many people who could be soul New Earth leaders from a perspective of just being a better parent or being a better husband or a better wife. This bringing a new frequency, just being a better person in life and sharing joy. There's just so many ways we can do that. And that part of the bias as well is like allowing ourselves to expand and see our unique frequency. And we were talking earlier, like we were talking about comments and going, but we're not scientists. And we said, you know, that's a bias in a way. Why do we think we can't talk about comets when it's only science that can talk about it? And yet you go back to Babylonian times, they had comets all over their ancient documents. They weren't scientists as we know them today. You know, every scientist started somewhere and learned along the way, and we are just doing the same. So it's okay for us to break down old paradigms and to revamp new ones and to start looking at things fresh. So our main strengths, so if those are our challenges, our main strengths are going to be trust. So I'm going to hand over to Alicia to share her trust insights.
Yeah, so when I was tuning into this, it was all about answering the call to your soul. So I think a lot of people are experiencing this, that they might be experiencing more of those divine syncs, those downloads, those messages, but they're not maybe going further into it. So, and the reason is because your soul is reaching out to you with all these beautiful navigation tools. And what I saw was these maps, these blueprints, and like I said, the navigation tools from your higher self are just showing you what is possible on how to get you from where you are now to that new earth, and really stepping into and inviting you to go first. Be the first one, be those leaders of New Earth, and to really create a new path, create those new foundations, those new perspectives. And what I'm being shown was the challenges were there was those overlays, those illusions, very similar to what Eva was speaking about. That's what's over top of them. And it's due to that lack of that deep connection and that remembrance. So inviting you to call back that remembrance and letting go of maybe that feeling of competition or that fear of not wanting to go first, really stepping into both of those. As that competition is no longer serving us here, we're all stepping into those new leaders. We're all coming into that unified space of being all the leaders with these really huge missions, but they all fit together very beautifully. And when we work together, it's like we all hold that beautiful harmonic vibration of oneness. And that's what we're really trying to strive for now, is really getting in tune to that, of how to work in unity, how to work in council, how to work in circle, in order to really make a huge impact. And all of us stepping in and going first to really create the way and pave the new way for others to step into it. You know, you have others with different missions, ones that will go first and ones that will just be, you know, taking those footprints and following those footprints that we made. But those New Earth leaders are here to make those first steps.
Yeah, for sure. And then there'll be others will come along and build on that architecture to make it stronger. So it's not about necessarily that some people are better because they're the leaders. It's about who's got what skills right now, what skills do we put together in the right order. We want to speak to those that are trying to step out in front, because we think that's what we're being led to do. So we're hoping we can guide others to do it. But then there's going to be others that we will learn from, even like retrospectively going back and looking to see what they've done with what footprints we left behind. So it's going to be this kind of infinite kind of loop, isn't it, of how this is all going to fit together. Cool. I've got a message here on YouTube. you know, being a one-of-a-kind phenomena, it's true that stepping into the unknown is kind of like scary. I mean, the difference in reality, yeah, it is very scary. And I feel it like mentally messing with my brain because I don't know where it's at. So it's this kind of almost forgetfulness, then huge remembering, then forgetfulness. It's flipping all over the place. So the second strength that we want to play with, so that was to do with trust and knowing your templates are already there, and that it's not that you have to create all of this stuff, it's already there. We just have to clear away the illusion to step into it. And that illusion, I think, is what I refer to as bias. So that kind of would fit into that. Those are the biases that are stopping us step through. The second strength that we have is working on our community. And Eva has a insight on this.
Yeah, so, and it goes along with what you both were saying. So building community, mine came up as the wolf spirit, right? And this is basically new to me as well. And what I felt with the wolf spirit is building that community, and it is not about being alone anymore. Like the wolves travel together, right? It's about connection, it's about communication, and it's about like they telepathically give each other messages. So it's about us becoming connected from soul to soul and really creating that connection, that collaboration, that communication about soul upon soul. And it really came clear about rebirthing. Like it's really going deep into Mother Gaia right now and rebirthing with her. And what that lady said on the YouTube that you just met about rebirthing, it came to a visual that as we, people who had given birth, we know that we go through expansion when we're in labor, right? So we expand, we contract, we expand, we contract. So imagine that baby coming down the canal tube into the unknown. The fear is like, oh, I'm going to contract. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to contract, like, you know, fear. And then when it comes out into the vastness of the universe. It doesn't know anything. The mom doesn't know anything. So it's all about uncertainty, but just put into the perspective of all the beauty that once you let go and you step into that new birth of all the limitless beauty, the universal support, the collaboration, the community, the family around you is there to help you take the next step and the next step and the next step.
And that takes us back to the community as family, doesn't it? And leads us into that really understanding. And then we're not talking about our blood family here. It's our soul tribe as well. It's other people who think like you. It's that kind of family that we're going to have to pull together so that we can push through some of these fears. But also part of your insights was to do with a new template as well, wasn't it? A Shambala template.
Yes, I am. The Shambala template is very earthy for me. And it's very traveling together, and it's the same thing. Like when I'm in Shambala, I'm walking the path, and there's new footprints coming up. But there's also going to be new templates. I feel that are emerging from the deep, deep soils, and it's going to be coming up and awakening each of us up. And I think I spoke with Alicia. Alicia and I spoke about it. Is the frequency of we got to start at the root again. It's almost like we got to restart at the root template again and just really make that new and powerful. And I don't know if people remember that frequency. There's that cone. I think David Hawkins has it, right? And it's about I feel like we're going to be weaving that, re-architecturing that whole cone, because we're going to clear it out here at the bottom, but we're going to incorporate, architect, weave in the highest frequencies in our bodies so that it goes all the way down.
And I think you're talking about this in terms of, as humanity, we don't know how to work together. It's almost like our templates for humanity collaboration have been broken. We only have to look at the wars and the hardships and the competition that we all seem to think is normal on Earth. And yet we know when we return to source, we don't have all of that. We're much more happier blending our energies and working together. And it's almost like that template's been missing off the planet, and that template is rising now, I think is what you said earlier from Shambala. That new template's making itself known so we can tap into it and strengthen it. But of course, you know, as light workers, it's our job to help anchor these templates onto the earth properly. So it's like, how can we as a community bring more of that template online and embody it and enact it and take action on it? Wow, fantastic. So I think that's coming up to the end of time. Is there anything we missed, guys?
Just maybe a few little comments on the side here. It's all about trust, Lillian says. She also said that's too funny, as my reading, which I did, talked about reconnecting and grounding with Mother Gaia via the root chakra, and also using the garnet crystals to strengthen the connection.
Cool. So just to summarize then what we've covered today is that the Ascension particle seems to be connected to this comet, and this comet might be affecting us physically more than we realize, that we are having that impact on our iron in our body, which might be making us feel tired. And the magnetism that Alicia mentioned is almost like, as this comet is coming out, we don't think the Ascension particle is coming out of the comet. We think that it's acting as a big magnet to draw it up from the earth, and that action of drawing it up might be causing this kind of iron reactions within our body. So that might be something to be aware of and share. More we share, the more we'll know. Well, we think that the fear is our biggest lesson this week, to start working on how we can heal the fear and manage the fear as we step into the unknown, as we step into ourselves. And we need to learn to find ways to access these codes that we're saying is kind of like shielded via our biases, so that we can pass the bias and get to all these tools so that it makes life easier for us. And then finally, there was the community. We need to start kind of building communities that are more based off the wolf pack, and creating new like earth templates then for unity and collaboration. So got a comment here on YouTube, but I think that's all the comments done. Quite a few of us have been working hard to help unite this community. Some seem to be still healing, some seem to be in shock, but slowly it's happening more and more. Yeah. And this is what we need, you know, if we're all in these little individual pockets doing this. Imagine if we can all come together and start sharing what we're learning, and we could like accelerate the whole thing, isn't it? That's what we're trying to do, is accelerate it, because none of us want to feel like this birthing process. We want to just get it over with now and come out and start doing what we're here to do. So thanks for that. That was We Are Conscious Evolution's comment. Okay, so that's our 30 minutes overview. We're going to go to Zoom in a moment, so we'll just sign off here.
All right. Thank you for sharing your time with us. If there's anything you would enjoy us to speak about, please put that into the chat. Those who signed up for Zoom link can remain on so we can do a quick meet and greet. And there's several ways for you that you could stay connected with us. There's our Facebook page. We have a Facebook community, Higher Consciousness Living, Stepping Boldly into the Unknown, our YouTube stations, our weekly Ascension Energy Forecast Mondays, and our Stardust Being Human series. And all links will be in the description. So, and if you want more guidance, working with the things we covered today, get in touch with us and we can discuss your challenges. So once again, thank you so much for sharing your time and thoughts with us. And we'll send you off with gratitude and much love till next time.
So guys, if you like this new format, which is an Ascension particle or update, energetic update, followed by what we think is the kind of major challenge, and then the strengths that we've got, then join us on Zoom so that you can actually then, we're going to go for a half an hour kind of brainstorming now session with those on Zoom, where we can hopefully then come up with some actions and start embodying some of this energy. So for now, bye guys. I think that's it. Okay, welcome to Zoom.
I think we're still, oh,
yeah,
we're still live.
Are we still live?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says on my Zoom here.